Discover your gift and purpose to become effective in this life. Welcome to Reality Creation TV. Because usually what we do is whenever someone hits a nerve, we cut them off. Disappear from my life. I don't want to see you no more. But we will never grow until you face the last problem you failed. Growth requires humans to face and not run. This love that God calls perfect has an attachment of the word maturity to it. And that word perfect, it's something that has been fully grown in the Hebrew and the Greek. It means to be complete. It's a love that has been complete, that's been finished, it's an adult level of love. It's a level of maturity. When God looks down, He says, look, this person has perfect love, that is maturity. And so when we look at people in the world and we say, look, this person has a beard, this person has so and so forth, we call them mature. But that's not what God calls maturity. He calls maturity when faced in a circumstance, how you act instead of reacting to that very circumstance is what shows us that you've gained a level of high maturity. And so this love that's perfect, that's finished, can even be demonstrated in Jesus' life. Matter of fact, Jesus didn't say He was finished until that very last moment, until He endured all things, until He went through all different trials, and after having overcome all trials, and still loving His enemy, and still willing to die for those who did not love Him, then He was finished. So sometimes we try to get to this level of perfect love by running away from problems, running away from people that are affecting us, running away from that. But matter of fact, God wants us to stay, not in dysfunction, but stay in the position of love. If someone does wrong to you, He wants you to maintain consistency in loving them regardless. If dysfunction is there, disattach yourself from dysfunction. Step back, reflect, but don't stop loving that person. Because usually what we do is whenever someone hits a nerve, we cut them off. Disappear from my life. I don't want to see you no more. But we will never grow until you face the last problem you failed. Growth requires humans to face and not run. And so that's what perfect love is all about. It is a love that has been fully grown in that specific area, that is fully developed. And so God is telling us, when after going through all these trials in that very area that you're struggling with, after facing all the hatred, after facing all the people spitting at your face and speaking negative to you, you have a choice to decide. Should I love or should I react? Should I act or should I react? And that decision is what's going to determine what level of maturity you have, what level of understanding you have, what level of knowledge you have. Matter of fact, it's the same way we live life, because if someone comes to you and say, I'm an electrician, and you give them a job, and they can't do what the paper, what they were designed to do, what they were paid to do, then we realize that this person may say he is that very thing, but he is not that very thing. Why? It's not determined, being an electrician is not determined by when you say I'm an electrician. It is determined when you're in front of a job. When there's a job to be done, whether you can get the job done or not, that's what determines whether you're qualified or not. Now, some people may say, well, how come there's people with degrees and so forth? I tell you, even in the work industry, you can carry all the degrees you want. And if you cannot apply it, you won't get a job. I guarantee you, being in the industry for a while, I've watched people that you get all the qualifications you want to get in the world. We're going to say, well done for getting the qualification, but now apply what you know. Let's see what you know. And it's going to be known in that very day when the job comes in and they say, Joe, what do you know? Do you know how to solve this? Do you know how to love? Do you know how to this? At that very moment, you have to apply what you think you know. And you can't be the judge. Now the world is going to be looking at you. That's when they're going to be the judge over you. And they're going to see, all right, this guy is not just speaking randomly. He knows what he's doing. And it's the same thing with God. He requires us to go through multiple trials to build this state of perfect love where we've perfected love in this area. And so when fear comes along, now that perfect love is so perfect that it destroys any form of fear that comes in, any form of phobia. If you don't understand what fear is trying to say, any form of terror. Because usually what we do is whenever someone hits a nerve, we cut them off. Oh, disappear from my life. I don't want to see you no more. But we will never grow until you face the last problem you failed. Growth requires humans to face and not run.